Lisa, we meet again.
I didn't expect to see you here.
I'm here on business, I'm afraid. No time to enjoy the collection.
Business? In the salon?
Not with Arbin. I'm on an errand, again. Elisa's really keeping me on my toes. Speaking of, I don't suppose you've seen her, have you?
Can't say I have.
Ugh, where the hell'd she go? This town's not that big.
Are you her babysitter?
Essentially, she keeps disappearing, and the Countess isn't pleased that her daughter is so often away from the manor.
You lost her?
More like she sneaks away from the manor without permission, which she's been doing more and more, hence the Countess sending me after that daughter of hers.
Wait, Elisa is the Countess's daughter?
Oh, did I not mention that before? Yes, she's the adopted daughter of the Countess and the late Count. Very mysterious business, all that.
That's definitely some information that would have been appreciated before.
I think I've been exceedingly generous with you already. Now, shall we get back to the more pressing issue at hand? Finding a young lady who doesn't want to be found is difficult enough without her turning invisible. What I really need to find out is where she has been hiding.
I could help you look.
Thank you. Maybe she's just adept avoiding me, but I have a strong suspicion there's more to it than that.
Lisa, I'm so glad you came. I was worried I'd scared you off.
I don't scare quite that easily these days.
Speaking like an old woman already, hmm? You needn't be in such a hurry to grow up.
I'm hardly a child.
Not for a human, no. After your first century, you'll start seeing things somewhat differently. The answer's 2, by the way.
Huh?
2 centuries. That's how old I am, more or less.
I wasn't going to.
No, but you wanted to, and I don't mind. I don't often get a chance to talk about myself in my profession. It's quite refreshing, actually.
Well, then do you mind if I ask you more?
Ask away. No promises I'll reveal all, though.
You must have moved around quite a bit over the centuries, but may I ask, where were you originally from?
When you're as old as I am, that question becomes somewhat meaningless. I've lived in many places, but the first was far to the east of here. It was a simpler life there, harsher in some ways, but simpler.
Why did you leave?
Well, that is a more complicated question.
Complicated or not, I'd love to hear about it. That is, of course, if you're willing to tell me.
Very well. Don't say I didn't warn you.
A letter?
I received this several months ago. Enclosed with it was a key. This one, to be specific. Go on and read it. Tell me what you think.
That's not a letter at all. It's a riddle.
Precisely.
Was there anything else with it?
Indeed, there was one other slip of paper with a date and town name, the time and place of my siring.
Then, the truth of that night.
I have never known my sire. They fled the scene while I was still unconscious. I almost burned alive that morning, not realizing I could no longer walk in daylight.
How did you even manage to survive?
Ingenuity, instinct, trial and error to some degree, and I did eventually find others of our kind. I learned that it's considered quite irresponsible to turn someone without staying with them. That was a comfort.
I'm so sorry, Arbin. That's terrible.
Yes, it was. But I survived and eventually found others of our kind. I've traveled all over the world, drunk deeply of its riches. I'd almost managed to forget the matter of my wayward sire completely when, well, just rude, really. I'd almost finished accepting that I'd never know. As for the riddle itself, I narrowed the first part down to this town.
I don't get it at all. How did you know it meant this town?
First, I tried towns with eagle in the name, but that was a dead end. Then I thought the eagle-less might be a person. The name Orlov, as it happens, derives from the word eagle in some Slavic languages. I took night flying to mean this Orlova would be a vampire. Et voila, Countess Orlova who roosts by this town.
That sounds complicated.
Indeed, but I do happen to enjoy a good puzzle. But that is, sadly, where I paused my search, for now. Between the salon and the Cabernet, I haven't given the rest much thought. I'd like to, but something has been holding me back.
What if I tried to solve it?
Well, that'd be very sweet of you, lovely. I'm hardly going to stop you, am I? But don't go out of your way. If whoever it is really wanted to see me, they could have spoken plainly, honestly. Here, take the silly thing. Let me know if you have any luck.
Arbin covers it well, but it really seems to be bothering her. It can't hurt for me to try and solve this. Although, that might be easier said than done. That's Evgeny and Savelli in the Skvortsov family photo. They seem close. A lot of thrown away scribbles. Must be Evgeny's poetry drafts. A lot of thrown away scribbles. Must be Evgeny's poetry drafts. Seems like he's been working on the same poem for a while, called The Curse. Most of these have barely anything written on them. Seems like he hated every idea he had from the very beginning. These are Evgeny's personal letters. I shouldn't be reading other people's private mail. There you are. So about what happened at the vodka bar. You're not seriously going through with this, are you?
Oh, I most certainly am. After what that bastard said, I will never be able to live my life freely.
You know, I care about you, right? I'd really hate for you to get shot. Especially before I get to know you better.
I'll be honest, out of all the arguments I heard, this one is the most convincing. But still. My talent has been mocked, my reputation destroyed, my wife's honor tainted. I'm afraid I don't see any other way.
Do you know how to handle a gun?
Not first-hand, no, but it can't be that hard, right? You just point at the target and press the trigger.
Oh dear. You should at least spend some time practicing.
You're right. Maybe my second can give me some tips. I've seen him do some impressive target shooting, and that's after several bottles of vodka.
How lovely. Did you arrange the time and place?
Lover's Island at dusk on the agreed date. This way our seconds can take care of the body more discreetly. We'll be shooting at the same time once they wave the handkerchief. I'm trusting you with this, but please don't tell anyone else. If someone shows up, we'll just have to go through the hassle of rescheduling, and no one wants to drag this out any longer.
Well, seems like your mind is set. I wish you luck, Evgeny.
Thank you. Now, if you don't mind, I'd like to spend some time with my thoughts.
Certainly. If I get there in time, I bet there's something I can do to impact the result. Could be tricky with the simultaneous shots, though. Wish I could be at two places at once. Perhaps I haven't done all the convincing I could do yet.
Hi there.
So that whole business with Evgeny.
Kind of infuriating, if you ask me.
Indeed. Why don't you just call it off?
I'm afraid it's too late for that. He challenged me. If I decline now, my reputation in this town is done for.
A reputation?
Don't beat a man while he's down, will you?
Sorry.
Yes?
No mail for me this time. It's a storage room for the building. That's also where packages are delivered for tenants to pick up.
Lisa, I was just thinking about you.
Evening, Faina. You said I should stop by earlier?
Yes, of course. Just give me one moment. There. This is now yours.
It's so intricate and beautiful. I'm afraid I don't know what it is, though. Sorry.
Sweetheart, there is no shame in that. We live and we learn, and then forget and learn again. This is a Hamsa amulet that was passed to me long ago by a dear friend when I had to leave our home. None of us wished for things to happen that way, but he couldn't go, and I couldn't stay. He knew how hard it would be for me to part with my old life, and how many challenges were still ahead, so he gave me this to protect me. And everywhere I went since, I took it with me, and every new place felt like home. Now I want you to have it.
Faina, thank you so much, but I couldn't possibly accept something so valuable.
This Hamsa was given to me to help me remember that my home is always with me. My journey here was long and windy, but in my heart, I know I'm where I always wanted to be. Your path is just beginning, little dove, so you'll make much more use of it now. And when someone needs it more than you do, sooner or later, I hope you pass it on to them.
I don't know how to thank you, Faina. I'll do my best to use it well.
No need, sweetheart. I know you will, and I hope it serves you well. I've lived long enough to know that there are some things you can't change, no matter how hard you try. But I also learned that there are always some things that you can.
Both of those things aren't that easy to deal with, are they?
It's simple, really. Just remember to be kind and useful, and all the rest will come. I think I'm getting a bit tired, little dove. I'll go lie down if you don't mind.
Please do. Have a good night.
Help yourself to a cup of tea if you'd like. I made too much again. Silly me.
Lisa.
This produce looks so fresh. I almost feel like eating solid food again.
Hello, young lady. How may I help you? Enjoy. Hello, young lady. How may I help you? Have a nice evening.
It's too dark. I don't want to stumble on a branch and break my neck. How did it become so dark so quickly? These woods grow thick in an instant. Even as a vampire, I wouldn't risk straying far from the path here. The smell is enchanting.
Shoo!
What's Elisa doing here? It doesn't seem as though she's noticed me. Elisa? Is that you?
Gah!
What? Did you follow me?
No. I was exploring the island and I just happened to see you.
Ah, well that's good. At least I haven't gotten that poor at covering my tracks.
Well, as long as we're both here, where were you heading, if you don't mind me asking?
That depends. Can you keep a secret?
I suppose I can.
Excellent. Watch this. Come.
This seems dangerous, but it might be even more dangerous to decline. Let's see. Ha! A secret handle underneath the moss. Very clever. What's all this? And what's that smell? It's making me a bit lightheaded. What is this?
It's called hookah. Finally, somewhere to spend the evening that isn't that dreadful vodka bar or Arbon's place. No offense to her, but I tire of the same old company.
You run this place?
Naturally. Would you care to try some?
I'd better not. It seems a little too close to smoking for my comfort.
Suit yourself. At least make yourself comfortable.
The smell is intoxicating, but not unpleasant. The smell is intoxicating, but not unpleasant. Ooh, this feels incredibly comfortable. I fear if I sit on it, I might fall asleep.
Listen, the Countess doesn't know about this place, and I'd prefer to keep it that way. Do you understand?
And why is that?
Does it matter?
Well, no, I was merely curious.
Fine, fine. Mother has been particularly restrictive of my actions recently. I just wanted something to call my own. And the extra income doesn't hurt either.
So the Countess doesn't know that you're doing this?
Precisely. You see why this needs to stay underground, so to speak. But enough of me. How are you, Lizaveta? Enjoying your new eternity?
It's interesting, I suppose.
Oh? You must tell me your secrets. Or perhaps it's just that you're still young.
Well, I suppose it's... the people. Well, vampires too.
Anyone in particular? Anyone special?
I have noticed some attractive humans around town.
Well, no accounting for taste. As entertaining a diversion as this was, I suppose I should attend to my duties. You should come again, though. It's difficult to find a decent conversation partner these days. The vampires are so stagnant, and the humans too fragile.
You mean...
Petya, yeah.
I'm sorry the ritual didn't work. really.
Nothing to be done now. That's necromancy for you. Fickle and temperamental, but that's what I like about it. I hope it's a little less unpredictable for my next attempt, at least.
You're going to try to bring someone else back?
No, I've had enough of that. You could say I'm aiming for something a little more abstract.
Which is?
Do you remember when I asked you about the sunrise?
Yes, I do. Don't tell me you... But isn't that fatal?
Usually, yes. But that's where necromancy comes in. There should be some form of protection spell that will permit me to shield my body from the sun's rays. It's only in the theory stages for now, but I am making progress. Well, what do you think?
The possibilities are incredible. If you could do that for a surgery.
Your mind goes to the strangest places. I don't dislike it, though. If all goes smoothly, perhaps a collaboration would be in order. Enough, enough. I'll be here all night at this rate. Stay if you like, or don't.
It's about the Hussar.
About how he won't give me a moment's peace? Trust me, I know.
He knows you're up to something, or rather, the Countess does.
Ugh. Can't he just look the other way? Seriously, would it kill him to look the other way?
I'm not sure he can he? I mean, I don't know a lot about your family's magical contracts, but I assume refusing an order is bad news.
I wouldn't know anything about that nonsense. I make it a habit to distance myself as far as possible from the dealings of my family.
Your father contracted the Hussar to a life, an eternity of serving your family. How can you possibly not care?
It's not that I am completely heartless about my parents' dealings, the few that are even shared with me. But I learned a long time ago that I have to look out for myself, too.
Well, perhaps this is a perfect opportunity to do both. Releasing the Hussar puts an end to his snooping, keeping your establishment safe from the Countess.
Well, when you put it that way, it certainly makes it all a bit more interesting. Let me think. You said serve my family, right? Maybe I can make a counter order.
Does it work like that?
Depends on how it was worded. Really, it'd be better just to break it, but contract magic is an art in and of itself. And father was a maestro.
But there is a chance it could be broken.
You'd have to figure out the original wording first. If you do, and if you figure out a loophole, let me know.
I will. Thanks, Elisa.
Don't thank me yet. Really, it's not going to be easy. You'll have to excuse me. Arben makes this look so simple.
I'd better report back to the Hussar.
You know this used to be my dress, right?
Really? No, I had no idea.
Uh-huh. Brought it to me from France after a big fight. She always preferred bribes to apologies.
I see. I didn't mean to steal it away from you. Would you like to have it back?
Sweet of you to ask, but don't worry about it. I just wish Mother would have asked me first. I am done with it anyway. Never thought it was a good fit. See you around.
The sunrise, huh? Elisa certainly is ambitious. I'm a little curious whether she'll be able to pull it off, though. I suppose I'll just have to wait and see. There's something carved into this tree. The name Arhipovna, enclosed in a heart. But that's a patronymic, not a name. Unless... could this be one of Arbin's clues? The two that lie alone. Lover's Island. Yes, that fits. I haven't seen this girl around town before. How odd. Hello there. Those eyes. Did it suddenly get colder?
Brave to come here alone at night.
I can defend myself.
From what?
Huh?
The moon shines her light upon all matter of strangeness here. Strange creatures and stranger deeds.
I don't believe I've seen you before.
Nor I you.
Do you live out here?
No,
Oh. Do you live in town then?
no,
Where do you live then?
no.
My name's Lisa, by the way.
Has it done you much good?
I don't know. I suppose it has.
Mind it not.
Oh. Why's that?
It got washed away.
Oh.
The lake washes away all sort of things. Names, and love, and blood. In the end, it all dissolves into the water. I tire of speaking. An instrument unplayed falls out of tune. But even so, this duet was not unpleasant, little bat. Your kind rarely sing so sweet.
Little bat?
Come again, Lisa. I'll be waiting.
What was that? Come again, she said. Maybe I will. Too bad I can't see my reflection in mirrors anymore. I wonder if I will one day forget my face.
Hello, Lisa.
Dr. Volkov?
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering if it's a good time to hear the rest of your story.
I suppose it's as good a time as any.
So, what happened after you turned?
I didn't know back then what I'd become. There was no one to explain it to me, so I had to find it out on my own. Thank goodness my infant daughter, Sophia, was with her grandparents that night and avoided our fate, so I tried to go back to life as usual, albeit without my wife. I was naive enough in the early years to believe that I could live a normal life with my daughter. I hired a wet nurse, locked myself in my room for research during the day, and continued to see patients at night. And for the first decade or so, everything seemed to go according to plan. I learned what I was by trial and error, and allowed myself to feed on the humans that entrusted me with their care. Bleeding a patient is a lot easier when you have fangs.
And after that, what happened?
Time happened, dear. She aged, and I didn't. By the time Sophia was 16, it was starting to become quite obvious that I hadn't aged a day. I laughed it off when people mentioned it, but deep down, I knew I wouldn't be able to do it forever. And then they came.
You mean the Countess?
If it wasn't for her, it would have been someone else, but yes. Higher society. They finally found out about my condition and came to collect my debts. Knowing what I do now, honestly, I'm surprised it took them so long to find me. They spared my life in exchange for my continued research for vampire kind. As for Sophia, I had to abandon her for her own protection. You know the family rules by now. They wouldn't keep her alive if she knew their secrets. And so, I disappeared. Made it look like I was lost to the wilderness.
I don't think I could have done that.
It nearly killed me. I'm not a strong man. I just did what I had to for my little girl.
So, you never saw her again?
If you don't mind, I should get back to my work. We can talk again some other time.
I understand. Thank you for sharing all this with me. Till next time.
Good. Lisa.
So, about that house call in the task list.
Oh, that's right. I'm doing one of my house calls for a regular patient, Nicolina. You see, she has hemochromatosis, which means...
Excess of iron in the blood, right?
Ha! Precisely. You keep pleasantly surprising me, Miss Morozova. The patient often experiences pain, fatigue, and other unpleasant issues. There isn't a known cure, I'm afraid, but there is something we can do to reduce the symptoms.
You want us to feed on her to lower her iron levels?
Indeed I do. I figured I can let you do the bleeding this time.
Is this ethical?
From a mortal standpoint, no, of course not. From a vampire's point of view, this is one of the more ethical ways we can carry on living. The blood would either go to us or the leeches, and, frankly, I believe we're at least one step above those creatures. But enough dilly-dallying, we should get going. She can be a terribly grumpy patient if her pain isn't managed in time.
Lead on then, Doctor.
Good old Nicolina, always leaving her key in the same spot. After you.
How do I get inside? I haven't yet been invited.
Oh, right. Let me handle that. Nicolina, it's Dr. Volkov.
Ah, Doctor, you ought to let yourself in. My joints are aching worse than a boil on a donkey's arse.
You should know that I've brought my assistant today. May she come in?
She? Well, all right. But what use is she out there? Come on in.
Come then, Lisa. You've heard our patient. She shouldn't be kept any longer.
Much better. Lead on, Doctor.
Now, Nicolina, how are you feeling today?
What do you think, Doctor? Like shit, and that's why you're here, isn't it? And she's your assistant, eh? Tell me, girl, what does a woman know of medicine?
I see our patient takes some issue with my presence.
And she won't be the last. However, right now, above all else, she needs our help. Consider your oath as a doctor.
You're right. Fine. I'll keep going.
Hey, what's taking so long? If this is so hard, I don't know how you'll handle the rest of it.
After my initial studies at the academy, I've been training under Dr. Volkov. So, if you trust and respect his judgment, then you'll do the same for me.
Oh, fancy broad, aren't you?
She's a bright one, Nicolina. Given more time and opportunity, she could put most of my colleagues to shame.
If you say so.
Now then, let's not delay the treatment any longer. I'm going to let Lisa here take the lead. Lisa, come take the leeches. All right, this is pretty simple. Just enchant her and pretend to apply some leeches to her neck. Then, drink your fill of blood. Just remember, not to take too much.
Of course, Doctor.
Good work, Lisa. That's enough. She should be feeling a little brighter now when she comes round. Tell me, how did you feel during that? You responded to me well enough.
I just wanted to assist the patient. She was in pain, and I was here to help.
A commendable attitude, if maybe not the most practical at times. Listen, Lisa. I suppose it's about time I share with you the full extent of my research. You see, when a vampire overindulges on blood, it imbues us with a feeling of power. The power the likes of which can't be achieved in any other way. But it does come with a cost. Each time the bloodlust grows until
Until one goes feral.
Precisely. It turns our kind into exactly the kind of monsters that human tales make us out to be. Vampires like this live in squalor and care only for their next feed. It was a creature like this that killed my wife and stole my life from me.
It sounds like a terrible existence.
Indeed. I've sought a way to put an end to this, to stop us living such a parasitic lifestyle.
Can something even be done about this?
I believe so, yes. In theory, it may be possible to separate the addictive element from the blood, leaving it simply as the source of nourishment. Unfortunately, research like this takes the kind of time and resource that I simply didn't have. That is until Countess Orlova presented me with an offer.
The Countess made a deal with you? Why do I feel like there's a catch?
That's because there is one. As you can imagine, she has no real interest in remedying the bloodlust.
So why would she approach you in the first place?
Well, in separating the addictive elements, I should also be able to distill the parts that give us power. That means she can create a consumable that temporarily boosts one's strength and abilities without any side effects. In return, I was allowed to continue my work and provided with everything I need. Funding to purchase lab equipment, as well as other expenses, and, well, an apprentice.
So that's why she allowed you to turn me. The reason why I'm here.
In a sense, yes.
I don't quite know how to feel about all this. That's a lot to take in.
I understand. All I wanted you to know right now is that I trust you, and it would be an honor if you chose to help me fulfill my vision.
Thank you for believing in me, Doctor. I'll certainly consider it.
Ah, that looks like all the time we have for now. You should get going. I'll stay here and make sure Nicolina is feeling better.
All right.
This isn't the best time. Sorry.
Glinka, Chopin, Bach. She really does have wonderful taste in music. Must have been next to impossible to get these cylinders. Some dusty sheet music. Looks like Anastasia was working really hard on those. Until she wasn't.
Hello there.
So, I managed to speak with Elisa.
How'd it go?
For Elisa's sake, I should try to be discreet. She was holding a gathering of some kind for vampires. Seemed like she wanted to start her own social circles.
Makes sense. I don't blame her for trying to strike out on her own, really.
Are you going to keep stalking her?
Don't have much choice.
Actually, I was talking to Elisa about that.
About what?
Your contract with the Count. If we can figure out how to break it, she might be able to help since she's part of the Count's family.
She said that?
She clearly has little love for these kinds of dealings, and there is some benefit to her if you're no longer on her tail.
That's Elisa, through and through. It's a nice thought, but...
Don't you think it's worth trying?
Yeah. Not getting my hopes up, though. It's not like it was a complicated contract. I was dying, didn't have much time to negotiate. But in it, he said had to be... what was it? Something about lions.
No idea.
Guess it's not important. Point is, there was a condition. Serve my family's house, and in return, we will not meddle in true matters of your heart.
That's oddly specific.
Yes, well, there were reasons.
Which were?
Unimportant.
You don't know that.
I would prefer not to talk about it.
I gathered that, but I still need to know.
Matters of the heart were what got me killed. Well, almost killed. My lover was not so fortunate. He was gone before the Count got there.
He?
Yes, he.
Oh, so you,
Yes.
Ah,
Happy now?
well, it might be useful to know.
Perhaps. It never really came up again. Not really the sort of thing you can force, either. If you think of anything, feel free to let me know. You know how to find me. I gotta figure out what I'm going to tell the Countess.
Matters of the heart. Oh, how infuriatingly vague.
What would you like? Coming right up.
Ah, my favourite customer. What can I do for you? Best in town.
Excuse me. Greetings.
You're free! Free to live your life as nature intended!